My mom picked my birthday to cash in on me. Not with a cake, not with candles, not even with a phone call, but with a text that destroyed everything I'd worked for. By the time my birthday morning rolled around, I'd already been awake for 5 hours. Clearwater Bay Cafe opened before sunrise, and birthdays didn't mean much when rent was due and your manager needed someone to cover a double shift. I tied my apron, shoved my phone into my back pocket, and told myself I'd celebrate later. Maybe with a cheap cupcake on the walk home, maybe with a movie I'd already seen twice. I was 22. Independent. Or at least I thought I was. The cafe smelled like burnt espresso and ocean air drifting in from the marina. Tourists came and went. Regulars complained about foam ratios. I smiled on autopilot, refilled mugs, wiped counters, and counted tips like they were proof that all the late nights and sacrifices were adding up to something real. That car in the parking lot. My car was part of that proof I'd saved for 2 years. No vacations, no weekends off, no impulse buys. Just shift after shift, cash envelopes hidden in my sock drawer, and a promise to myself that I wouldn't end up stuck in my parents' house forever. Halfway through the lunch rush, my phone buzzed. I didn't look right away. I was balancing 3 plates and a tray of drinks, weaving between tables like a tightrope walker. When I finally glanced down, expecting maybe a birthday text or one of those obligatory emojis, I saw my mom's name. The message was short, cold. "We sold your car. Family comes first." For a second, my brain refused to process it. I reread it. Then again. "Sold your car." My chest tightened like someone had cinched a strap around my ribs. The cafe noise faded into a dull hum, like I'd gone underwater. I leaned against the counter, heart pounding, fingers numb. They couldn't have sold it. It was in my name. Paid for it. I insured it. Another buzz. "You'll understand one day. Mason needs the money more than you do." Mason. My younger brother. The golden child. 2 years of savings. In 2 sentences, I felt stupid for being shocked. This wasn't new behavior. It was just the most expensive version of it yet. Growing up, I'd always been the reliable one. The one who fixed the Wi-Fi. The one who helped file taxes. The one who loaned money that never came back. The one who didn't complain. My hands shook as I locked myself in the tiny cafe restroom. The mirror reflected a girl with tired eyes and a forced smile still frozen on her face. I unlocked my phone again, hoping, ridiculously, that there was some explanation coming. Instead, the 3rd text arrived. "We need $6,000 by Friday. Mason's tuition is due this week." I stared at the number. $6,000. That was more than I had left. More than my emergency fund. More than I'd ever given them at one time. It hit me then. Sharp and humiliating. I wasn't a daughter to them. I was an ATM with a pulse. No happy birthday. No apology. No discussion. Just expectations. I slid down the wall and sat on the cold tile floor, apron pooling around me, the sound of customers laughing just beyond the door. I thought about every skipped meal. Every night I'd stayed late to help my mom figure something out online. Every time I'd told myself, they'll stop asking once Mason's settled. They never stopped. My break ended. The shift didn't care that my life had just been stripped down to nothing. I washed my face, shoved the phone back into my pocket, and went out smiling like someone who hadn't just been robbed by her own family. An hour later, it rang. My mom. Calling. I answered because some part of me still hoped, against all evidence, that she'd say this was a mistake. The screaming started before I could even say hello. "How dare you ignore us? Do you know what you're doing to your brother? We raised you better than this." I stood behind the counter, phone pressed to my ear, eyes fixed on the coffee machine so no one would see my face crumble. I tried to speak, tried to explain, but every sentence was drowned out. "You owe us. Everything you have is because of us. Don't be selfish." Something inside me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, but cleanly. Like a cord finally cut after being stretched too far for too long, I pulled the phone away, opened the message thread, and typed a single word. No, the silence on the other end was immediate. Then came the threat. "If that's how you want it," my father said, his voice suddenly calm in a way that was worse than yelling. "Pack your bags. You're dead to us. Dead. I hung up before they could say anything else. The rest of the shift passed in fragments. Orders. Mail. The sound of the bell over the door. My manager wished me a happy birthday when I clocked out, and I nodded like the word still meant something. Outside, the parking lot was nearly empty. I walked straight to where my car should have been. The space was vacant. Clean. Undeniably empty. No mistake. No misunderstanding, they'd really done it. The sun was already setting, painting the water orange and gold, mocking me with its calm. I stood there with my bag slung over my shoulder, keys useless in my hand, and felt something strange settle over me, not panic. Not even rage. Clarity. I started walking. Each step home peeled back memories I'd ignored for years. Fixing their printer at midnight. Paying the internet bill when it accidentally lapsed. Being told I was strong whenever something needed sacrificing. Always mine, never Mason's. I wasn't strong. I was convenient to be. By the time I reached my apartment, my feet ached and my phone was buzzing non-stop. I didn't answer. I didn't read the messages. Instead, I sat on my bed in the quiet and replayed every moment I'd been treated like backup instead of family. And that's when I remembered I'd left something running in that house. Something small. Something they never paid attention to because they never thought about the systems I quietly kept alive for them. That I smiled for the first time all day. They thought the story ended with that threat. They thought cutting me off would break me. What they woke up to the next morning. That's where the real story starts. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, phone face down, letting the silence do what it needed to do. By morning, the shock had burned off and left something sharper behind. Not rage. Rage was noisy. This was quieter. Focused. I knew I had to go back. Not to argue. Not to be to close the door properly. The house looked the same when I pulled up later that afternoon. Same chipped paint. Same crooked mailbox. Same place I'd grown up learning how to stay small. I walked inside with a strange calm you get when you already know the ending. Mom, Linda, was on the couch, scrolling her phone like nothing had happened. No guilt. No tension. Just the soft tapping of her thumb against the screen. She didn't even look up. "You're back," she said flatly, like I'd gone to the store and taken too long. I stood there, keys clenched in my fist, waiting for something. An explanation. An apology. Anything that resembled acknowledgement. Nothing came. "I need my things," I said. She sighed, finally glancing up at me like I'd interrupted something important. "You're making this bigger than it needs to be." There it was. The dismissal. "You sold my car," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. Linda waved her hand. "Your brother's future comes before your little convenience, Ava. You'll thank us one day." Convenience. 2 years of overtime. Every saved tip. Every sacrifice. Reduced to an inconvenience. Dad, Gary, came in from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a towel. He looked tired, irritated, like this was an errand he hadn't planned on dealing with. "You always overreact," he said. "We kept you afloat for 22 years. You owe us." And just like that, the truth snapped into focus. This wasn't love. It wasn't gratitude. It was a ledger. Everything I'd ever done for them had been tallied. Every meal, every roof, every bare minimum parental responsibility logged like a debt I'd never be allowed to pay off. I nodded slowly. "So that's what this is." Gary crossed his arms. $6,000 in a used car is nothing compared to what we poured into you. The way he said it, like I was a bad investment, made something cold settle behind my eyes. I moved toward the hallway. Gary stepped in front of me, blocked my path. The vein in his neck pulsed, his jaw tight. "You're not walking out like this." "Move," I said. He didn't. The shove came fast. His hand hitting my shoulder, not enough to knock me down, just enough to remind me who he thought was in charge. A warning, not quite assault. Dominance, delivered casually. Something changed then. The fear I'd been carrying didn't get louder. It disappeared. Anger didn't make me reckless. It made me cleared. I stepped around him and went to my room. The door was half open, the space already feeling less like mine. I moved quickly, efficiently. No dramatics. No tears. clothes into a duffel, laptop, external hard drive. From the top drawer, I pulled out the small wooden jewelry box my grandmother had given me before she passed. Linda had tried to claim it years ago. I'd never let it leave my room, so I packed. My mind ran through something else. Not memories, systems. Every password, every login, every bill. I paused, sitting on the edge of the bed, and the realization landed fully. I wasn't just the extra paycheck, I was the password keeper, the bill payer, the one who made their lives run without them noticing. Electric, water, internet, streaming services. Their bank portals, their budget spreadsheets, the auto-pay schedules they didn't understand. All of it lived in my head, and on my laptop I zipped the bag. They thought all they lost tonight was a daughter and a car. They had no idea how much of their lives actually depended on me. Back in the living room, Linda finally stood up. "You're being dramatic," she said, arms crossed. "You'll calm down and apologize. You always do. Always had." "Not today." Gary stepped toward the door as I grabbed my bag. He reached out, not quite touching me, like he was deciding whether to push again. I met his eyes. Then I walked straight past him. He froze. Outside, the Florida air hit me like a wall, humid, thick, alive. I didn't stop walking. My phone was already in my hand, fingers moving on muscle memory. "Ava, can I crash with you?" "Jenna, say less." "Come now." Jenna's apartment smelled like reheated takeout and cheap vanilla candles. It was messy in the way real places are, with laundry on the chair and a half-dead plant on the windowsill. She handed me a bottle of water the moment I stepped inside. I sat on the couch, bag at my feet, and felt my body finally catch up with what had happened. Jenna looked at me, really looked, and said the one thing nobody in my family had bothered to say. "That's messed up." And for the first time since my birthday, I believed myself. I didn't know yet what would happen next. I just knew I was done being silent. And somewhere across town, a house full of systems I used to quietly keep alive was about to wake up without me. Jenna handed me a towel and nodded toward the bathroom. "You can shower if you want. Or don't. But just so you know." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "You know that's not normal, right?" I looked up from the couch, still holding the unopened water bottle. "What they did," she clarified. "That's not how families act." Something in my chest loosened. Not all the way, but enough to breathe. I'd spent so long translating their behavior into something tolerable that hearing it named out loud felt surreal. Not dramatic, not sensitive. Just wronged. I took a shower, let the water run until the steam fogged the mirror, and when I came back out, the hurt had cooled into something else. Not explosive. Organized. A cold, deliberate kind of anger. Jenna watched me open my laptop at the kitchen table. "What are you doing?" "Fixing something," I said. For years, my parents' digital lives had lived in my hands. It had started innocently enough. "You're good with computers," my mom would say. "You handle it," my dad would add passwords, counts, forms, tope, axes, budgeting. Anything that involved a screen and a decision quietly slid across the table to me. They didn't even realize how dependent they'd become, and tonight, for the first time, I wasn't going to cushion that dependency. The first thing I did was separate my money. I logged into the joint account, the one they'd insisted was easier for bills. Easier to monitor. Easier to dip into. Easier to pretend my money was communal when theirs wasn't. I moved every dollar that was mine into a new solo account I'd opened months earlier. Just in case, I left their money untouched. I wasn't interested in stealing. I was interested in reclaiming. Next came the utilities, power, water, internet. I didn't shut anything off. I didn't cancel services. I simply removed my card information from every autopay system I'd been quietly maintaining for years. Then I updated the contact emails. Not to mind how the email address my parents had set up and ignored because it's too confusing. Every overdue notice, every reminder, every warning would now go exactly where it belonged. This wasn't sabotage. IT was finally putting down a box I'd been forced to carry alone. I leaned back in the chair, exhaled slowly, and felt something solid form under my ribs. If I'm dead to them, I thought, they don't get to keep using my spine as their backbone. Jenna watched me work in silence, eyes wide. You've really been doing all of this for them? Everything, I said. Then I opened HomeFlow. IT had started as a class project, something I'd built during an online coding course because spreadsheets bored me and I wanted something visual. HomeFlow tracked spending by category, flagged unusual patterns, and generated clean charts that made money feel honest. My parents loved it. They loved pointing to the pie charts when friends visited. Loved saying things like, "See, we're responsible." What they didn't love, what they never really looked at, was the raw data underneath. Numbers don't care about stories. They just stack up. HomeFlow synced automatically. Credit cards, bank statements, enrollment fees. Every transaction flowed in, time-stamped and categorized. And because my dad didn't trust cloud stuff, I'd mirrored the data to the family desktop months ago. Redundancy, I'd called it. I clicked into the archives. There it all was, sporting goods purchases that somehow never fit into the budget. Clothing hauls labeled as household necessities. Impulse buys. Subscriptions. Fees. All while I'd been covering shortfalls and loaning money that never came back. My mom used to point at the charts and say, "See? We're careful." While the random crap you don't need category quietly ballooned month after month. I'd kept the reports private back then. I told myself it was kinder that way. Tonight I changed the settings. HomeFlow was designed to generate reports automatically. 30-day breakdowns, clean visuals, simple summaries. I'd always kept them internal, just for me, so I could quietly adjust and compensate. I added recipients. Mom, Dad. Then I paused. And added more. Aunt Brenda. Grandma Evelyn. 2 cousins who loved resharing my mom's family first posts, the audience my mother cared about. The next report was scheduled for the morning. I closed the laptop and looked at Jenna, who was staring at me like she just watched someone flip a switch she didn't know existed. "I didn't add lies," I said quietly. "I didn't edit anything." I picked up the water bottle and finally took a sip. I just pointed the app at the audience she'd been performing for, and let the numbers speak without her script. Somewhere across town, a carefully managed narrative was about to meet raw data. And this time, I wasn't going to be there to soften the blow. My phone started vibrating before the sun came up. Not the gentle buzz of a single notification. This was violent. Relentless. The kind of sound that rattles across a nightstand and doesn't stop long enough for you to breathe. I opened one. 17 missed calls. 32 notifications. All read. For a moment I just lay there, listening to it keep going. That I hadn't done anything in my sleep. I hadn't sent messages. I hadn't made calls. The system had. The family group chat was the first thing I opened. Less than 12 hours earlier, it had been full of Mason's college acceptance screenshots, clapping emojis, proud comments from relatives. The kind of curated celebration my mom loved. Now, it looked like a crime scene. Messages stacked on top of each other, timestamps overlapping, people typing over one another. Aunt Brenda. Wait, what is this email? Cousin Laura. Is this real? Uncle Steve. Linda, can you explain these numbers? All of it triggered automatically. No dramatic reveal. No confrontation. Revenge delivered while I slept. The HomeFlow email had gone out at 6 a.m. sharp. I opened the attachment. Clean white background. Blue header. The HomeFlow logo centered at the top. Underneath. Monthly financial breakdown. Collins household. Primary user. Linda Collins. Secondary user. Ava Collins. The first page was simple. Brutal in its clarity. 2 columns. Mine. Hers. Bills on one side. Discretionary spending on the other. Green for necessities. Red for leisure, utilities, groceries, insurance, internet, tuition deposits. Then, non-essential leisure. The red bled across the page. Scrolling, charts, percentages, dates. IT didn't accuse. It didn't editorialize. IT just showed. The reply, all that changed everything, came from Aunt Brenda. I thought Ava was barely helping out. Linda, this looks like she's been keeping you two afloat. I exhaled slowly. My phone rang again. Mason. I hesitated, then answered. What did you do? He yelled, panic in every syllable. Mom is crying her eyes out. I didn't do anything, I said. I stopped hiding. He went quiet, and in the background I could hear chaos. Voices raised, something slammed down hard. Dad, I'd find out later, was outside yelling at the neighbor about hackers, about fake numbers, about how none of it made sense. Aunt Brenda called next. The moment I answered, she asked, "Are you safe?" "Yes." Then softer, "Did your parents really sell your car after you paid for most of it?" "All," I corrected. "I paid for all of it." Silence, then. "Oh." She liked looking at the parts that made her feel noble, I thought. She just didn't expect anyone else to see the rest. Mid-morning, Grandma Evelyn's email hit. She'd forwarded the report to half the people my mom bragged to. Church friends, cousins, distant relatives who only knew the polished version of our family. Dad responded by pacing the yard, phone in hand, shouting about identity theft and hackers breaking into finances. Mom tried deleting emails that had already been opened, screenshot, forwarded again. The irony sat heavy in my chest. They had asked me to set all of it up. I just stopped hiding the receipts around noon. I got another call from the cafe. "Mason's here," my manager said. "Says he needs to talk to you." I stepped outside. Mason stood there with his bike, sweat on his forehead, looking smaller than I remembered. He hadn't driven. Both cars were blocked in the driveway, my parents in a standoff fueled by denial. Grandma was on FaceTime with him, the report printed out in her hands. "I showed him," she said when she saw me. "Every page." Inside the house, I heard later, Dad had smashed his mug against the counter when Grandma asked him to explain his own bank statements. Mom's new story formed fast. She insisted on paying extra, she'd said. Wouldn't take no for an answer. Grandma didn't raise her voice. "Ava didn't manipulate numbers," she said calmly. "Numbers can't be manipulated if they come straight from your bank." Mason looked at me then, not angry, just tired. "There's a line in the report," he said. "The one highlighted in yellow." I knew the one. Discretionary spending increased 40% following essential bill payments by secondary user. Translation: fishing poles and purses bought days after I covered the past due power bill. Grandma had asked Dad one simple question. "So you had money for that," she'd said, tapping the page. "But not your own light bill?" Dad hadn't answered. Mason shifted his weight, eyes on the pavement. "I didn't want business school." I blinked. "What?" "I want to draw," he said. "Design. Game development." I tried to tell them. My chest tightened. "They said they weren't wasting money on some hobby," he continued. "But they're fine spending $6,000 on a degree I don't want. And all this." He gestured vaguely, meaning everything. The irony burned. $6,000 demanded in my name, while stress relief toys and weekend splurges stacked up quietly in red. "I didn't come to ask you to fix it," Mason said. "I came so you'd know I'm not okay with what they did." He mounted his bike, then paused. "Also," he added, trying to smile, "I checked the report. Used Mom's card for gas." And with that, he rode away, to a friend's house, not back to ours. I watched him go, phone finally silent in my hand. I didn't feel triumphant, I felt steady. For the first time, the truth wasn't mine to carry alone. By the afternoon, it felt like the whole town of Clearwater Bay knew. That's how small towns work. News doesn't travel fast. It arrives all at once. Someone sees a post. Someone else hears a raised voice. Screenshots get passed around quietly. Then not so quietly at all. Dad tried to get ahead of it. He posted a long rant on Facebook, public, no privacy filters. Paragraph after paragraph about kids these days. About sacrifice. About how parents give everything and get nothing but betrayal in return. He didn't name me, but he didn't have to. A T first. The support rolled in, fishing buddies commenting. "Hang in there, brother." Old co-workers posting thumbs up emojis. A few vague, "praying for your family" replies. Then reality crept in. Someone asked about the numbers. Someone else posted a screenshot of the home flow charts. A neighbor commented, "Is this the same car Ava paid for?" The tone shifted. Day in Clearwater Bay. Reputation is currency. And theirs was suddenly depreciating. The video changed everything. Mason hadn't meant to record it. His phone had been in his hand, camera on by accident, the way it sometimes is when you're nervous and don't know what to do with yourself. The clip was shaky, grainy. Real. Dad's voice was clear. "Tell Grandma that email was exaggerated," he said. "You hear me?" Mom was on the couch, tissues scattered around her, mascara smeared down her cheeks. She looked smaller than I remembered. "This is my reputation," Dad went on. "Your sister ruined it with online charts like she's some kind of accountant." Mason's voice came in, thin but steady. "It's your actual spending. Your account. Your name." Dad stepped closer. "You think you're a man now?" he snapped, then the shove. Open-handed. Hard enough to knock Mason back into the coffee table. The sound of wood scraping. Mason's grunt as he caught himself. The camera jolted. The truth didn't. Once that clip hit the family chat, the narrative collapsed. Aunt Brenda arrived 10 minutes later, flour still dusting her shirt, straight from the bakery. She didn't knock. She stepped between Gary and Mason without hesitation, planting her feet like she'd been waiting years for this moment. "Ava didn't turn anyone against you," she said, voice shaking but firm. "You did that when you took her money, sold her car, and lied about it." Mom tried to rally. "You know how hard we've worked," she said, wiping her face. "You don't understand the pressure." Brenda didn't blink. "I understand that when I offered to help, you said you had it under control," she replied. "And that Ava barely contributed." Silence followed. Then Uncle Doug spoke up. Doug usually sided with Dad. Always had, not this time. "I'm taking the side of not assaulting your own son," he said flatly. "And that math don't lie." Dad looked at him like he'd been slapped. "You too," he demanded. "You're going to take their side." Doug shrugged. "I'm taking the side of reality." By evening, the community group lit up. Mr. Lawson posted something polite, almost gentle, asking if the Collins family needed help, sorting out online account confusion. In a town like ours, everyone read between the lines. Dad replied defensively. "The app was biased," he wrote. "Doesn't show emotional deposits." The response came fast. "You can't pay the light bill with emotional deposits, Gary." The likes piled on. Mason texted me around 9 staying at a friend's. Grandma offered her place too. Dad had given him an ultimatum, he said. "If you walk out," Dad told him, "you're choosing you over them." Mason's reply had been simple. "I'm choosing not to get shoved again because he can't handle being wrong." I offered what I could, Jenna's couch, space, time. "I know," Mason texted back. A heart followed. Through it all, my parents kept spinning. They didn't know how HomeFlow worked. Didn't know it was still logging. Still tracking. Still scheduled. They thought it was just one bad email. They were wronged. They'd spent years telling me family comes first. In the morning, they were going to learn what it felt like when the truth came first instead. No drama. No message from me. Just the system doing what it had been designed to do. Show the truth in numbers. Saturday night, sitting cross-legged on Jenna's living room floor, I'd adjusted the settings. Nothing extreme. Nothing new. Weekly frequency. Late fees included. Overdrafts. Past due notices. I didn't add commentary. I didn't highlight anything manually. I let the math speak. The new recipients list was wider this time. Mom's Bible study group. A few co-workers she bragged to. Pastor Dan, the people whose opinions shaped her sense of worth. Her reaction, I heard later, was immediate and physical. Full-body sobs that shook the couch. "Why would she do this to us?" she kept asking. Outside, Dad paced the front lawn in yesterday's t-shirt, phone on speaker, begging Mr. Lawson for help. "I don't understand these charges," he said, voice cracking. "I need you to fix this. Pay you. I just need this gone." Mr. Lawson's answer was calm, unmoved. "It's your bank. Your bills. I can't change them." The facts stacked up quickly. Power disconnection notice. Water bill 2 months late. Dad's voice dropped. "I don't know how to do this online crap. Ava always did it." Then the real admission slipped out. "I can't have everyone thinking I can't take care of my own family." Inside, Mom read the email subject lines out loud between sobs. Payment past due. Late fee applied. Insufficient funds. Declined transaction. They're going to think we're trash, she cried. They're going to think we're liars. Mason's response was quiet. They don't think anything new, he said. They just finally see what Ava's been seeing for years. Grandma's email landed shortly after to CC'd to everyone. This is financial abuse, Linda, she wrote. I raised you better. The word sat there, unsoftened abuse, she continued. I will not be sending money to bail you out while you buy non-essentials and punish Ava. Mom wailed when she read it. She's cutting us off, she said. My own mother. Dad tried bravado next. We don't need her, he snapped. We'll fix this ourselves. But his hands shook as he stared at the red past due stamps. The irony was complete, he couldn't fix it. Because I always had. Mason made his decision that night, gap year. Paying his own way. Mom screamed that he was throwing his future away. Dad said he was being dramatic. At least now it'll be my choice to throw, Mason replied. Not theirs to sell. He moved in with Grandma, planning community college or online classes, something that belonged to him. Grandma texted him later. Proud of you. I just wish you didn't have to blow everything up to be heard. For me, there was no going back. Even if they apologized, I knew what I had been to them. A resource. A walking password. A wallet with feelings they didn't have time for. Jenna added my name to the lease renewal. My manager hinted at a promotion. An email came in about a coding internship I'd applied for months ago and forgotten. For the first time, my life wasn't built around bracing for crises. IT was built around my choices. The lesson settled quietly. Family comes first only means something if family includes you. When that phrase is used to empty your savings, sell your property, or demand your silence, it isn't love, it's leverage. You don't owe anyone your car, your paycheck, your mental health, your skills. You owe yourself a life where boundaries are real and no is allowed to stand. They wanted me grateful for a roof held like a threat. What I have now is better, locked door I pay for. Wi-Fi in my name. A bank account no one else can touch. And the knowledge they gave me whether they meant to or not. How dangerous it is when you let people treat your sacrifices as their entitlement. Damn, why revenge was simple. I stopped letting them pretend.